Hey everyone, welcome back to a glorious Monday. Well, I wish it was glorious at least, but it wasn't glorious. It was terrible. It was, Trump opened up his mouth again about recession this time, and well, the markets and Bitcoin and the miners, everything crashed except for Core. Core was up today. What happened there? We'll talk about that one. Obviously, we'll take a look at what's going on here with the miners. We have some good news on adoption of Bitcoin. We'll talk about what happened with Bitcoin today. The miners, Hive reported their quarterly results. Not quarterly, geez. Their production update for February. I do have all of the miners except for BitDeer now. So if you guys want, I'll leave it up to you guys. Maybe we'll do a poll later on. If you guys want to take a look at the numbers that we do have for the month of February for them as far as grading them, scoring them, without BitDeer in there, or if you think I should wait until BitDeer provides that, I'll do that poll here in a second. What else do we have here? Core news, we talked about that as well. I think that's it. So we got quite a few things to go over as always. So you guys know the drill. Not financial advice, return only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously as always. And let's take a look at what happened here today with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin definitely had a little bit of a wild day today. It was up at one point and then it came back crashing down. We closed at 78,544. We did hit a low of 77,389. The good part on this is we did fill the gap on the CME futures here today, which was right around there, and we filled it here today. So I've been talking about this probably for the past couple of weeks here, that I thought we might be going down there. And sure enough, it has played out that way. We are kind of bouncing off of, maybe, we might be bouncing off of this CME futures 200 simple day moving average here on it, which is the green line here. We kind of bounced off of it today. Maybe that might be the part where we bounced, but we have fallen below it before as well, even stayed below it a couple of days, and we bounced up again. So it's not out of the question that it could still happen here where we go below it a little bit. I think as long as we hold around this line to around, I would say on Bitcoin, maybe even going down to like 71,000, 72,000 might be some support there. We can see it at least here that there is some support. It's very light support, right around 72,000. More support is around 69,000 though. So that's another part that I would look at. And then we do have some support further down, but I don't know if, going down that far, that would put us into bear market territory. I don't know if we're going to be heading that way, but it just depends on Trump if he wants to break the economy for whatever reason that he wants to do that, to lower interest rates and things like that. But if we go down to 53,000 or 54,000, that's 50% drawdown on Bitcoin from the top. That would be a bear market territory at that point. I do think like 69,000 is going to be still within the range of where Bitcoin typically has drawn down in a correction. That would be 36% roughly, 36, 37%. And Bitcoin has done that in the past as well. Well, it's still going up here, so that would be within the range. If we go below that, then I'm going to start getting really concerned here on where things go going forward. Okay, a lot of people are calling this the Trumpcession, Trump and then recession. So he spoke about it a little bit today that we might have that, but he doesn't want to really talk about it. But good things are going to be happening here going forward. Things, that the usual Trump spin on things. One thing that I thought was interesting here, I think it was Trump at one point, either last year or the year before, whenever it was, he did state that any president that has a drawdown on the markets, 1,000, or I think it was on the Dow Jones, if the market falls like 1,000 points, and they should be put on a rocket and shipped out into outer space. Well, we had that drawdown here today on Dow Jones for his own candidacy or his own presidency. And so, you really got to watch what you say, I think, because people will throw that back in your face. The market's definitely not doing too great right now under his watch, which is not good. We were all hoping for a much better time here with not only the markets, but Bitcoin, miners, everything else. And they just seem to have a different agenda here at play. They want to lower the interest rates for whatever reason. I think it's just to, we do have a lot of debt that's going to have to be oh gosh, what's what I'm looking for there? It's going to have to be, oh my gosh, my mind has gone blank. It's going to be, not revalued, but it's going to be, you're going to have to take new loans on it. So you guys know what I mean. That's maybe the reason for it there. And then when they do that, where Papa Powell lowers the interest rates at that point, and they can refinance, here we go, there it goes, popped in my head, refinance the loans that they have there on the debt at a lower interest rate, maybe at that point we can start going back up. I don't know. That's just one of the theories that's kind of being out there right now, at least. All right, so Bitcoin on the new day is at least going up a little bit here. It was down. We hit a low today of approximately, what was a low? 76,155. Last time we were back here was roughly back here. This was back on November 24th or November 10th, it looks like, on it. So we're going back to prior to the election here. Once we got the election here, I think the election was right around here anyways. We had a nice pump, right? Double top here, looks like a little bit. And then we've been definitely pulling back down here recently with all the tariff talks, uncertainty in the markets, which is never great. Yeah, we are where we are right now. I still believe it's definitely getting a lower percentage belief, but I still believe that Bitcoin will rally eventually into this year. Once we get past through all this kind of crazy time in the markets and with Trump and everything else, hopefully things kind of smooth out a little bit. I think they're taking on too much at once. And it's, quite frankly, I'm going to say this, pissing the markets off right now, or at least, everything that's happening here. Uncertainty is never a good thing. Markets like certainty as far as where things are heading to. And could they have done this also, but taken a little bit more of a structured approach, or at least a longer time frame on things? They could have. But they're just trying to get as much as they can get done as quickly as possible, it seems like, which is not good. Because then at that point you start breaking things. And we have that happening here right now. So MicroStrategy was down quite a bit today. It was down 16.68%. It's bouncing off of this 200 simple moving average as well here. We'll see where that one goes, but that one's definitely down quite a bit. I mean, geez, from the top here, if you guys recall, I talked about that one being a little bit overheated at that point. It's down almost 57% or so from there. Definitely quite a big correction here. And it's way down to where it was basically in November as well. Bitfarms was down 10%. BitDeer was down 9%. Cypher was down 20% today. That one got definitely crushed here today. That one, let's go back to September. Cleanspark was down 9.63% today. CORZ was the only one up 2.96%. And the reason CORZ is up today is because there was a new story. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. There it is. Yep, I got that one here. So CoreWeave strikes a 12 billion contract with OpenAI ahead of IPO. CoreWeave stock to sell 350 million shares worth of 350 million worth of shares to OpenAI via private placement. Reuters said, so that's kind of interesting there on that one. So that obviously pumped Core today because of that news that came out there. Core, I mean, they're going to probably benefit from this possibly with that big of a contract for 5 years, I think it is. That might flow into CoreWeave or Core Scientific from CoreWeave. We'll have to wait and see, though. No definitive news right now on it, but that's kind of what the market is actually anticipating to happen, at least. All right, so that was Core. Core had at least up on the day, was up 3%. It was down much lower than that at one point. Hive was down 13.75. HUT was down 15%. IREN was down also 14%. Mara was down 16%. Riot was down almost 9.7%. Wolf was down 14, almost in 3/4 as well. These guys are getting back to like their lows here that they haven't had since like August of last year. These guys. Smaller miners did also pretty bad today as well. The ETFs, 11%, 12% down on the day. Not a great day. And hopefully we are getting close to the bottom of this with everything that's happening here right now. Dow Jones is also down quite a bit here, right, from where we were. Let's take a look at it really quick here. Dow Jones is down right now. It was down as much as 7% from the top. It's currently at about 7% still on it. And then the NASDAQ here is definitely taking a beating quite a bit here from the top down to the bottom here. It's down 13 to 14%. And the S&P 500 also same thing, down quite a bit. So I'm sure the markets are not happy about this. Yeah, the S&P is down almost 10%, 9.5% roughly. Right, a lot of people that are in business and things like that are typically Republican. And with all the stuff that's happening with the tariffs, everything else, I'm sure a lot of people are not happy. So the mid-cycle elections might be brutal unless things really turn around here relatively quickly for that. But we'll see. All right. Couple good things that we do have here, but let's take a look at really quick. Bitcoin for the month here so far is down 8.4% in March, but we do have some good things. MicroStrategy actually announced today that 21 billion STRK at the market program. They're going to be using that to buy more Bitcoin, which is kind of good because I think their average is around 66,000, something like that for Bitcoin. So they're getting pretty close to that. And so that's good, right? They're going to be buying more Bitcoin here. That's going to take Bitcoin that would be otherwise sold later on or further down the road. That's going to put it into their coffers, and that's not possibly being sold here for any time soon here at least. Next one that we have kind of good here is Spain's second largest bank, BBVA, gets approval to launch Bitcoin's trading and custody service, more adoption. This is a good thing that we want to see. Then we have here just in Sunnyvale Public Safety Officers Association becomes the first police and fire dual agency in the U.S. to hold Bitcoin on its balance sheet and self-custody. That's good news, right? Adoption, more good news here. We already talked about that one. We do have a little news story from Cleanspark. Cleanspark, like we talked about, I think yesterday, is getting into the S&P Global Small Cap 600 Index. This is going to be happening March 24th for them, so that's good news for Cleanspark. And let's get into Hive here. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, that's just a regular X there. I can close that out. But Hive obviously provided their production update here as well. I'm going to post this question for you guys if you guys want me to go into... no, I don't want super stickers. I want to do a poll. Let's see here. Show the numbers on the miners for February stats, or February stats. Yes or no? So I'll leave it up to you guys, right? BitDeer's not in there right now. I'm still waiting on that one, but everybody else is included in it. So based on your poll, we'll either do it or we won't do it. All right. So Hive is going to be pretty quick here. They mined 89 BTC for the month of February, bringing their Hive's HODL portfolio to 2,620 Bitcoin. That's actually down from where they were the month prior. So they are using their HODL position BTC as well to fund the growth in Paraguay, to build out and to possibly buy new machines as well for it as well. Okay. What else here? Hive achieved a peak BTC only hash rate of 6.2 exahash, so I did improve their numbers there a little bit as well. And then we got some commentary. There wasn't anything that's out of the ordinary or at least new that we don't know about yet right now. So the only thing that I found kind of new here was Kylik, CEO Kylik there. Kilik or Kylik, I can't remember how to pronounce his name. But regarding our high-performance computing GPU business unit, in the last week of February, we realized a 13 million of annualized run rate. Revenue from our fleet of high-performance GPUs, we are on track to reach our 20 million annualized run rate revenue target by calendar Q2 this year, based on the current growth and performance trends with new GPU servers coming online for AI processing. So that is definitely happening there for them, so that's good. And that'll be a nice added bump to the revenue as it is. All right, let's get into Hive here. So there's the weekly Hive here. So Hive has about 155 million shares outstanding, right? Performance over the last 12 weeks, abysmal, not great. We talked about this plenty of times here recently in the last couple of weeks. Current hash rate 6.2 exahash. Future hash rate right now, what they purchase, about 10.7. So there's still quite a bit of growth here left on that. And they have to buy more machines on top of that as well. BTC HODL 2,620 is valued about 202,000 right now for them. And their HODL market cap is 75.3%. Each share has about $1.30 of HODL in it right now. Okay. Production here has been coming down as they have kind of slowed down on their growth of hash rate. Revenue's down to 8.48 as well. Bitcoin HODL here has been coming down the last 2 months, and that's because they're buying the site from Bitfarms in Paraguay, the 200 megawatts there, and they're using that to basically help fund some of that purchase there. Total petahash, total hash rate, whatever you want to call it, has increased a little bit here, but more or less it's slow, right? That's why we're seeing a decrease also. I think it's also because we had a shorter month in February as well, so that could be attributable to that. Let's see, they sold, it looks like 126 Bitcoin here in the month of February. Their BTC per exahash efficiency was at 14.28, and then Bitcoin sold about 12 million there on that one. Looking at some of the other things here, institutions side of things, institutions did increase for them as well, which we have been seeing that for the other miners as well. Institutions went up to 169 now. Shares went up to 42.3 million. Percentage actually went down to 29.03, which leads me to believe dilution is happening there. And I updated this today. We still have 4 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 perform, 0 sells. Price targets for the high stayed the same at 11. The average went up a little bit here to 864, and the low stayed the same at $6 as it is. based on Bitcoin price for February and network hash rate, all that, I'm about to generate about 8.4 million here roughly. I did install some more machines for them, another 200 petahash roughly of these 194 terahash machines. And that got us to the 6.2 exahash roughly. And then I had them operating about 24.985 days out of the month here. So a little bit lower than where they were in January. They were at 28 in January, so they're down on production. Could have been weather related, could have been something else. We don't know. They didn't really provide that for us. But based on that information, going forward, the next 12 months, if they stay at the same level of revenue, I have them between 655 and 982 more or less. They are currently at $1.73. Definitely way undervalued right now as it is. Okay, so the only thing that they got to do is continue to build out and build out quickly. They're going to have a lot of growth here happening into the next basically 2 quarters. We're almost done with this quarter that we're in right now. So Q2, Q3, they're going to be installing approximately like 18 exahash if everything works out for them. So they're going to see a heck of a lot more growth here happening at that time, just depending when it all gets plugged in. But that's going to be good for them. Maybe at that point that will help out with the stock price of where it's at right now. But that will greatly depend on where Bitcoin price is at the same time as well. All right, you guys know my feelings on Hive. I've always said that they were a great operator. That just in the past they were kind of lacking a little of motivation to grow. We definitely are seeing it this time, this year at least. So I'm happy with that, and not much. And can't really say anything else about them. Nothing bad. They seem to be operating really good here. All right, and it looks like, let's see here. So based on the service, should we do the monthly updates on the miners, who came in first, and for everything else? 81% are saying to do this, do the numbers on the miners for February. Okay, so we'll do that. So we'll leave out Bitfarms, or not Bitfarms, but BitDeer. We'll get into that one, or maybe we'll update that one. BitDeer does provide that, but here's what we got here on it. So going up here, monthly operation metrics comparison. So megawatts, month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, BTC per exahash efficiency, BTC mined, days mined, current hash, and HODL as well. So that's kind of where I'm grading them on, and we score them. Basically, the best gets a 1 point, the lowest score gets a 10 point. In BitDeer's perspective, they actually are getting 11, just so they, grade lowest on things right now at least. But here's what we got. So month-over-month percentage hash rate growth. Bitfarms came in number 1 with 5.93% growth. Hive came in second with 3.21. Then we got Cleanspark at 1.49. And Mira at 0.93%. Then we had Riot, BitDeer, Cypher, and IREN pretty much flat. Core was actually down 0.53%, and Hut was down 8.65%. So those are the top 5 for that. Current hash rate, obviously Marathon has the most, 53.7 exahash, followed by Cleanspark, 40.7. Then you got Riot at 33, IREN at 31, and Core at 18.4 as it is. Those are the top 5 there. BTC per exahash efficiency, higher is better. Cleanspark came in number 1, 15.33. IREN 14.8, Hive 14.28, Riot 14, Cypher 13.3. So those are the top 5 there for efficiency for the month of February. And then month-over-month BTC mine percentage. So did they actually increase their production? Bitfarms was the only one that actually increased their production here month-over-month by 5.97%. Cleanspark was the closest there. It was only down 0.32%. Mara was down 5.87%. Riot was down 10.82%, and IREN was down 11.9% month-over-month period-wise. So those are the top 5 there. The BTC mined here, Mara mined the most, right? 706, Cleanspark 624, then Riot 470, IREN pretty close to that, 459 as well. And Core at 215, really close to Bitfarms at 213. So those guys are getting pretty close on things. And then days mined here, BitDeer, that should be off. It's 2784 for the last month, I think, is what I have them for. So BitDeer is off, so don't go by that one. Cleanspark came in number 1 at 26.75. IREN at 25. Hive at 24.9. Then Riot 24.3 and Cypher at 23. Those are the top 5, excluding, obviously, BitDeer, because I don't have the data for them. And then HODL, when we look at that, Mara has the biggest position there, 46,374. Riot with 18,692. Cleanspark, 11,177. Hut 8 at 10,237, and then we got Hive with 2,620 right now. Those are the top 5 for that. BTC sold percentage-wise. Mara looks like didn't sell. They actually bought maybe some, or had some that were transferred from one thing to the other, because they do also some lending, I believe, on Bitcoin there. Riot, same thing. Core was basically flat on it. Cleanspark, so Core didn't sell anything. Cleanspark sold just a little bit, 0.5%. I think they sold a couple Bitcoin there. Hut 8 sold 37%. Bitfarms sold 49%. So these are the ones that have sold the least. And then you got IREN selling everything that they own. Cypher also 132% there. So they sold more than they mined. Hive, same thing, 141% on it. And BitTier doesn't have a score there on it as it is. Okay, so based on all of those metrics, we look at the 8 metrics, which includes everything, and then the 6 metrics without the HODL of the current hash rate. Here's how things stack up. Cleanspark came in number 1 for all 8 metrics. Mara came in the number 2 spot, followed by Riot, and then Bitfarms and IREN. And then when we take out the HODL position of the current hash rate, Cleanspark still came in at number 1, followed by Riot, Mara, IREN, and Bitfarms. Those are the top 5 there right now for operations, as for the month of February at least. And then when we look at the averages here for the miners as well, we'll look at that here shortly, but we got just the how everybody scored here over the month of February. You can see Cleanspark really low on the scoring, which is good. Lower is better for this. And, I mean, they're doing a fantastic job there. Mara, high on some things, but low on other things as well. Very low on things. Riot, kind of more in the 4s and the 2s and the 3 range on things. Bitfarms, more kind of on the average side of things, around 6, right? A couple of things that were really good there for them. IREN, same thing, kind of all over the place on the numbers for that. Hive, same thing. Some numbers were good. Some are pretty high and above average, which is not good. Core, same thing. A lot of things that are kind of average more or less. Cypher, same thing. And then Hut 8, above average on a lot of these things here. That's why they've kind of scored the way they have. Hopefully when they do actually get the newer machines plugged in for them, that's going to help them out in the next couple months, I would say 3 to 9 months, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. Okay, total metrics for the 12 months averages, lower is better. So this is basically scoring, taking all the scores over the last 12 months, combining it, getting the averages for this, and this is where you get basically the best operator over the last 12 months, more or less, on this. And here's the results. So Cleanspark, on average, had a 24 score, 24 points over the 8 metrics, followed by Mara at 34, then Riot at 41, followed by IREN at 44, then Hive at 47. Those are the top 5 over the last 12 months. And then on the 6 metrics, not including HODL or hash rate, Cleanspark still number 1 with 19 points, IREN at 30 points, Hive at 32, Mara at 35, and Bitfarms at 36 points on average over the last 12 months. So those are the top 5 there. Right, I use this along with other things for the miners, but right now the miners are not being valued in any way, at least the way I think they should be valued. That's not happening right now. So you can use this, obviously. I use it to kind of help me get into the miners I want to get into, but the recent performance here has been abysmal. I don't want to use expletives, but sometimes I feel like I want to just shout it out there, but I'm not going to. I'm going to remain calm, collected, and positive thinking here. Maybe that's a fault. Maybe that's a bad thing. But it is what it is. Okay, so that's all the numbers for all the miners here for the month of February. And maybe we'll just do a quick update on that when I do get BitTier's numbers in place as well. All right, but that's it. This will be available to my Patreon members tomorrow. I'll get this out to you guys, as always. Link for Patreon membership if you want to support me there and get the access to all the spreadsheets. I provide that in multiple formats, in numbers. Excel is exported, and PDF as well. So that's link for that is down in the description. It's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots that are still open at $5 and $4. Definitely jump on those because that's a nice savings there for you guys. So not a lot of money. All right, well, let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say. Any thoughts, questions, comments, anything else in general? Let's see where we are with things. Okay, let's see here. As always, questions. If you guys preface them with a question mark or a Q, I'd appreciate it. And I'm scrolling up here just to see if I missed anything as far as questions are concerned, or any comments that I thought are really good. Star Melon Gaming says here, we're going under 70, so everyone prepare, put your diapers on. Yeah, that might be a possibility for sure. I'm not ruling that out. I think as long as we stay above 65,000, we'll be okay. I'd like to see us at least get to 69,000 and bounce from that. I would be happy with that, but it just depends on what President Trump says. Anything, of concern there could lower things down even more. All right. Okay. Chris says Riot bought BTC at 100,000 K. They're not the only ones, right? Mara was buying around that range, I think, as well. Hut 8 was buying around that range as well. I'm trying to think if anybody else was buying in at that range, but I think those are the only ones I can remember right now. MicroStrategy. Okay. Pitt says, Cleanspark seems to be holding all right in comparison with other miners. I was only down 336K today. Okay. Yeah, it seems to be, at least recently here, the last couple of days, maybe a week or so, it's been holding up a little bit better than some of the other miners, yeah. Let's see what other questions we have here. Okay, Peter here, refinanced. Yes, that's when I was questioning, had a brain fart. So someone says Trump pump was a Trump dump. Yep. It's looking like it right now. Hopefully things get better from here. Okay. Patrick has a question here. Trump wants to remove debt ceiling and is fine with wrecking the market to get Powell to make a move. Problem is when QE starts, everything will dump first. Yeah. That might be the case. Peter says, if you voted for him because of Bitcoin, you're a Trump chump. I guess we're all chumps then. You know, I will say one thing. He did keep to his promises. We got a Bitcoin reserve there happening. Cynthia Loomis is working on bills for that as well. So we are moving in the right direction. But it's, everything else is, if we had that and we didn't have the tariffs scare and, tariffs are on, tariffs are off, tariffs are on, tariffs are off. If we didn't have that, I think we'd be in a better position than we are right now. What else? Suleiman Mappa, make America poor again. Get your caps. Sorry, trying to find some more questions, comments. Let me see here. Yeah, CORZ news is because of the deal with CoreWeave, strike 12 billion contract with open. Yep, talked about that. That's nice there. My dad was very happy about that today. Okay. DeFi, I just went to vent, lost 300,000 so far. F Trump, go ahead and vent, man. Sometimes I think it's I haven't done this, but I've heard other people where they go into like a room and they just scream their frustrations out. It's a good way to get that out of the way as well. Okay. So I'm trying to bear with me as always. I'm trying to read comments and see if there's any questions in there or anything that's good. Let me see. Someone says, maybe the miners ended their cycle a year earlier than usual, prepared to last cycle eating. We've been done for a while. Maybe, right? Maybe. History is always in the background or in the back of things, so it's always easier to see things when you've gone through it already. I still think that we are going to have a cycle here with the miners and Bitcoin into later part of this year, but it might be pain in the rear for the next couple of weeks, couple of months, depending on what Trump does. Okay. Steven says, more pain coming. Trump will see to it. Yeah. I mean, it's a little short-sighted there, I think. I know he wants to get the interest rates lower and things like that, but you're going to, I mean, a lot of people voted for, making America great, meaning that, costs on things are going to go down. Tariffs are not going to help that. Yes, you might be able to, get the debt under control maybe a little bit there, so that would be a partially good thing by refinancing it. What else? I mean, jobs, right? People wanted jobs and things like that, but tariffs are not going to create jobs overnight. If any industry is out there in Canada or Mexico or wherever it is, it's going to take several years for them to build a facility here, and they're not going to build a facility if there's uncertainty, right? Tariffs are on, tariffs are off. You need certainty in the markets. Let's see here. Nah, man, Seb, for president's dead. He has my vote. I appreciate that. I wasn't born here in the United States, so I can't be a president here. I can be a senator or a congressman, but I can't be president. I don't even know why. I don't think I can be even a vice president. See, Sir Moon says, I remember Seb last year saying if we got to February and miners still not up, you would be worried. Not now. It's March and they are much lower than last year. I bet you're worried now. I am worried. I've lost a lot of paper money basically on this. I'm still in the green on Cleanspark. Mars probably in the red right now. So is Bitfarms and IREN right now. But Cleanspark is still holding those up to where I'm still in the green a little bit at least. So yeah, I am definitely getting a little bit more worried here recently. I'm not going to lie to you guys. My Bitcoin at 79,000. My line is, I'm thinking as long as we can hold like 69,000, 65,000 at the max, we'll be okay. But if we go below 65,000, yeah, definitely not a good place to be in at that point. Or it might be the bottom there also. It's one of those things where, you know, you freak out, you sell, and then things start ripping on you. So it's tough. Bear with me. Sorry, I wish I could do something about the dead space here at least. I'm sure you guys don't want me hearing yakking about something else while I'm trying to read the comments here. There's a lot of comments today. All right. Is Mara the most undervalued considering their BTC holdings as well? It definitely might be, yeah. They're definitely being valued on that right now as it is. They're definitely in like the top 5 of most undervalued companies right now as it is in the space. Okay. BLM says Trump needs to bow to the bankers and they might reverse course. No, try the opposite of that. The bankers would have to bow down to Trump and then he'll stop talking about the stuff that's going on there. Right? You need to thank Trump and everybody else in that administration for what they're doing. Where am I at? Okay, Mohammed says we need Trump mental analysis, not stock analysis. Let's see, miners are allergic to green and crack babies for red days, lol. All right, let's see. Agreed. Don't think anyone would want to touch the miners next cycle. ETFs ruin them. I think stick with MicroStrategy. Depending what they do still this cycle, like I said, I don't think the cycle is over yet. Depending what they do in this cycle, that will be, you know, maybe a little tell there. But also the thing is, like I keep saying, what if we have an extended cycle also, right? Where Bitcoin goes up for a longer period of time, just has these kind of corrections. We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, everything is in the future. We can't see it that far out. The JK says, I sold Cleanspark on Friday, post-market, locked in, waiting for BTC to crash. Very nice. Let's see. After this cycle, no more miners. Spot BTC only next cycle. I have Bitcoin as well. So, yeah. The original goal was their miners would be like a proxy play on Bitcoin. And they were at a point last year when they rallied nicely, but then after the halving event, they've been doing really, really badly unless you were actually in like the miners that were going, or at least going for HPC AI. Most of those did really well here. And then those have even fallen down here recently. JK says BTC price action is on the downside downtrend and trends are locked in. They don't suddenly reverse. Yeah, I would agree with you there for the most part. Yeah, it takes something to definitely get those reversed. Okay, guys, when Trump stops talking about tariffs, I think. Let's see here. Moon up or down? Longer time frame, I think we're still going to go up. We'll see if that plays out. Let's see. DeFi, no one knows. The cycle is different. The cycle is different. Yeah, I've talked about that in the past as well. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to read the comments. Okay. DeFi says Mara is the most undervalued based on BTC holdings. I talked about that already. Okay. Do you think, let's see here, do you think Hut A will do some buybacks? I don't think they will. They did a buyback because they got the convertible notes. We've seen that with other companies doing that as well. I think TerraWolf did that. We also had Cleanspark do that. I think IREN also did that. I'm not sure if Riot did that though. But we've had a number of companies do that when they got the convertible notes. Next question here is, do you follow this global liquidity supply, China liquidity more likely than U.S. quantitative easing? Okay, I do follow a little bit, but not probably to the extent I probably should be following it. All right. Jordan says, I'm a proud chump. DeFly says, I'm down 30,000 miners or 300,000 Cleanspark and IREN, killing my portfolio. Can you do something, some magic to make it go up? I don't have that kind of magic. I wish I did. I would definitely make it go up. We need Roaring Kitty to pump the miners. That's it. Question, what percentage of your total portfolio is in the mining stocks? My total portfolio, if we're including like Bitcoin and some of the altcoins that I have in there, it'd be like 50%. If it's not including that, then it would be close to 100%. Based on the current direction of the American economy, when do you think we might reach a bottom, and when could they start going up and peak months-wise? This BTC halving cycle seems postponed. Well, I don't think it's postponed. I think it's just a different cycle altogether. When do I think we might bottom out? I think it might be not for another couple months, possibly. We'll have to wait and see what the economic data comes in at for February or for March. February even, I think we got FOMC meeting next week. We'll see what the Fed says at that point. There's just a lot of things happening here. Hard to tell where things are going to bottom out at, but they might bottom out maybe by end of April, maybe sometime in May. Well, I have to wait and see. It all depends on the doggone tariffs. All right, are those going to be in place? Are those not going to be in place? So it's not a fun time right now. Okay. Miners are toast. Right now, yeah, they're definitely toast. Envy says, shakeout happening, patience is the key. I would also believe that. Okay, let's see. Liquidity is coming. Mark your calendar, March 25th. Bitcoin and miners start to pump, baby. March 25th, okay. And can you expand on that as to why you would think that'd be the case? Let's see. Where were you born? I was born in Poland, actually. Many years, and then I came here when I was 8 years old. Okay, JK says get possible for possibility of 68K. That's still within the range there. I think that would be okay. JK says risk manage at your peril, folks. This is where fortunes are lost, possibly. Let's see. May dump during BTC conference. You're talking about the BTC conference in May? Or May pump during the BTC conference. I think that's in May, right? Okay. DJ says, I moved half of my Cleanspark bag to CORZ today. Very nice. NV says, have conviction. We will be fine. Hold on, folks. Pump is near. Definitely want to believe that. Will coordinated global liquidity pumping save BTC and the miners? There is some, obviously, talks in China, I think. And then depending what happens with the tariffs, will countries pump to help out their citizens because of the war that's happening with the tariffs? That might be a possibility there. Okay. Thoughts on the M2 chart with the 75 lag compared with BTC? I would have to look at the M2 chart. I haven't looked at it probably in about, last month I looked at it was probably, I think, last month. So I would have to look at that and see where that's at right now. So I probably should not comment on it without actually looking at the chart. All right. Do you think the CPI print in Wednesday saves us or kills us? If CPI is going down, that will help us. If it's going up, that will not help us. So we'll need to see what the inflation is like at that point. And maybe if it's down, that might save us. Yeah. Okay, why, you guys are busy commenting. Why? Okay. Not why, but great. But I was going to say, wow. Why are people complaining about these dips? You either have conviction or you don't. Said that people have resulted to blaming Trump again. Remember what happened from 2020 to 2024? Yeah, well, we had the pandemic at that point as well and things. So, but it's still up, right? The market was still up between those 2 dates. They're complaining, and rightfully so, I think, is just the comments right now from the administration are not very conducive to a good market. They're more conducive to a lot of volatility, a lot of unknowns, and markets doesn't like unknowns. So will that correct over time? I think so, but right now it's definitely volatile, and maybe they're planning to begin with. Okay, I saw somewhere that Trump has 25% of not surviving the full presidency during duration due to his health and age. I don't mind that 25% at all right now. Yeah, I mean, I know he's older, right? But he's still very lucid, very, he still has a lot of energy. So wish him all the best, right? I don't wish ill to anybody. Sorry, guys. Trying to read through some of these comments as always. Let's see. Flame. Oh, did I miss your comment or your question? There's just a lot. So if I missed it, I apologize. I'm going back up a little bit here. Okay, so let's see. Where is it at? There it is. So if you could repost your question, I'd appreciate it because I don't want to scroll back up and lose my spot. But post it and put a Q or a question mark in front of it. Let's see. Tommy does not seem worried about BTC getting as low as 62 and still thinks it could go to 150. Why is he wrong? I don't know if he's wrong. 62,000 on Bitcoin. Where would that put us at? Percentage wise as far as the dip from the top. So let's go here to the screen. 62,000 might still be in play. 62,000 would put us, okay, that's like a 43%. It would definitely be close to that range of where I would start to really get worried at that point. Bitcoin historically has only come down 35, 36, 30%, 28%, 30, somewhere in between there. I'm trying to think if we had a correction where it was at least 42% or something like that. So I'd start to get a little bit worried about that point. But if you think that we can go down to 62,000 and then bounce off of that, okay, definitely would be very, very rough on, well, MicroStrategy is, their average is at 66. So if it goes down to 62, MicroStrategy is going to be underwater on some of those shares there, or some of the Bitcoin that they have. All right, let's go back here. Okay, is there any point to getting into the miners next cycle since the halving will cut their revenue again in half? Not to mention network hash rate increasing. It's just brutal industry. It is a brutal industry, right? So the big thing for these guys, and I've always said this, I've been saying this for like the last 3-4 years, that the miners need to get to scale, right? When you get to scale and you get to a certain point in hash rate, or at least having a certain point of the network hash rate overall, the percentage-wise, market share there, a lot of the costs that you have that are associated with sales, general administrative costs, other costs, those come down, way down from it. And then also, but if you have an extended cycle also, could that be a good thing for the miners? And that's something that we have yet to see. So I think that would be good for them, especially if Bitcoin just, goes up for the next 3 years or something like that, 3-4 years, whatever it might be, but it just goes up slower. So instead of having these huge parabolic rises that we've seen in the past in Bitcoin, we just go up 50% one year, 50% next year, something like that. But we also have those drawdowns in Bitcoin as well. At that point, I think the network hash rate wouldn't also go up as much. And I think the price of Bitcoin would actually outpace the percentage gains in the network hash rate. So I think that would be a good thing for the miners in the long run, I think. We have to run some numbers on it to see how that would actually play out. But those are going to be all assumptions at that point. Okay. It says, according to Tom Lee, said Bitcoin will revisit 60,000 before 200,000. I mean, yeah, it's definitely getting close. see. Silver Moon says, just notice on charts, a lot of miners started their decline in early 2024 when the ETFs made their debut. Interesting, IREN, an exception. Excuse me. Yeah. You also have to take into consideration that the miners were going to be getting into having an event where their revenue gets cut in half overnight. So that always plays into it as well. Last cycle, the miners were actually going down into the halving event. The Bitcoin was going down as well at that point. They were actually starting to kind of flatten out and go up a little bit. But after that, the miners would do very well here. This cycle, we had Bitcoin get it to 73,000 before the halving event. And then we had the halving event. Bitcoin went down to like 40-some thousand. We had a correction there of about 30-some%. And then it went back up. But it's been an extended periods of time where it does that, where it goes up and then it just goes sideways for a while. And finally bottoms out and then goes back up. That's way different than what we've seen in the past year. And I think I talked about that on Thursday's show last week. So it is way different this time around. Okay. Do you still speak the language? Polish? Yeah, I still speak it. I'm missing a lot of the vocabulary there because I don't use it every day. I do use it with my wife, but it's still a lot of the technical vocabulary there. I know the basic vocabulary, I guess you say, for Polish. I can barely read it. It takes me a while to read it, but I can read it. I just have to sound it out. And then writing it, forget about me writing it. I can't do that. All right. Have you seen the pod with me, my buddy, and Jeff Booth? Jeff Booth really makes people think differently about Bitcoin. I'm trying to think. There's so many things I've been watching here recently. I don't know. I think I have it on my to-do list still. I'll see if I can catch that one tonight. I'll look for Jeff Booth and you guys on there as well. Let's see, Mark asks, if billionaires like Saylor can't time the market, what chances does retail help? Not much, right? That's why a lot of people recommend dollar cost average into things, because most people cannot time it. I think there's maybe like 1 to 2% of people might be able to time the market more than once or more than a couple times. Others are not going to do so well. Okay. Hi, Sebastian. Why was Cypher so much down today? Is this a good entry point? I don't know why it was down today. It was down definitely more than the other miners. I'm not sure why it was down so much. I didn't see any news on it as far as being any bad news or anything like that. It's just down. Is it a good entry point? I think so with these guys, but it might fall down even more tomorrow. So just be prepared for that as well. Okay. Pitt says glad bought small business from last year again. Nice. JK says cash is king. Bevneed here. One thing I've learned is whatever the majority think will happen does not happen. I wouldn't be surprised if we go back to 100,000 by the end of this month. LOL. Oh, that'd be great. I would love to see that. Rob says this is where fortunes are made. Yeah, being greedy when others are fearful and being fearful when others are greedy, right? Okay. Let's see, Chris says, did the teacher in Poland pull your hair in school? In communist schools was fun. I only went through first grade in Poland. I can't remember any traumatic experiences at that point. I think the only thing that happened to me was getting like whacked on my hand with a ruler. I think that's the only thing I can, for some reason, that's stuck in my head for some reason. All right. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the BitDeer A3 miner? Steel miner gonna bet big orders and kill it on revenue. I saw that. It came in at, what was it, 9.8 joules per terahash or something like that. But that's on energy savings mode. I'd like to see more details on that. What does it operate as far as terahash? What is the watts that it's using, right? Or at least joules per terahash on that in regular mode, not power savings mode. So I'd like to get more details on it, but that's definitely very, very good, right? 9.8, it's better than what they were thinking of. I think they were thinking of around 10 joules per terahash on that. So it's still really good, but how many hash are you getting out of that, and what's the wattage at that point? Like a little bit more details. Okay. Question: at this point, would you be happy selling Cleanspark at 20, Bitfarms at 3, and IREN at 15? Yeah. Hindsight 2020. Yeah, I probably would be happy right now if I knew this was going to be the end of it all, right? That things are just going to continue to go down. We're in a bear market, and that's it. And that might be the case. I might be completely wrong on this, with me thinking that we still are going to have a pretty good, maybe second half of the year. We'll see. Okay. Anyone knows what happened to Bitfarms not reporting earnings on their scheduled date of March 7th? Did they actually put out a release that they were doing that on March 7th? I don't think they did. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think they provided any press release for that yet. Jeffrey says, I have 20,000 shares of Cleanspark. I'm going to off myself. Well, I honestly hope that you don't do that. If you're in the red, you're in the red, right? Hopefully you're still young enough where you can make up the difference on that and do much better going forward. I have over 10,000 shares in Cleanspark myself, right? I'm still at least in a little bit in the green on it. And the only reason I'm in the green on it is because I dollar cost average in the bear market. So that definitely helped me out. But it's way down from where it was just a couple months ago. So not happy about that either. Okay. Seb, when are we getting $500,000 checks from Doge? Market is desperate. I don't know if that's going to be happening there. It's a question. Michael Saylor's face in body language says it all. He expected the United States to buy Bitcoin so he can exit out of his positions, but it's not happening with China holding 200,000 Bitcoin. I don't think. I mean, I watched that summit there. I think I was just bored, more or less, with the talks and all the greetings and all the rear end kissings a little bit there. I think I was just bored with that. Okay, trying to catch up to all. I think I'm getting close to the end here. All right, what else? Question. Okay, I got a question here. Is Bitfarms much undervalued than Cleanspark, IREN? I'm thinking buying dip for Bitfarms. What the risk do you see for Bitfarms? I think Bitfarms is undervalued, right? Bitfarms kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit over the last couple, I would say, 3 to maybe 5 months or something like that. They had growth targets that they missed, and then they kind of expanded that growth into the first half of 2025. They're now rolling that back down. Instead of getting to 21 exahash, they're talking about 18 exahash, something like that. They sold the site in Paraguay. They're transitioning that money and capital into more in the United States, which I think is good. So there's that. That's the good part of it there. The concern there is, can they actually do what they say they're going to do, getting to 18 exahash by the end of the first half, which at least right now we haven't had a track record of them doing what they say they're going to do. So it's one of those things where it's trust but verify, right? They're saying that, okay, fine, but can you do that? We need to verify that they do that. And then can they do the things that they're saying about when they buy out Stronghold? Can they do the things that they want to do there with the HPC AI stuff and things like that? That would definitely help if they can do that as well. Can they get the interconnects that they're looking to get as well for the HPC AI? So there's a lot of what ifs, right? There's a lot of unknowns right now. Okay. What happened to MicroStrategy if BTC drops below their price margin call? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Somebody smarter than me probably knows this. It's tracking them much better than I am. I know a lot of stuff that they got, or they purchased Bitcoin, was with the convertible notes. I don't think that those are backed by anything. I think they're just convertible notes. Or maybe they are backed by Bitcoin. And then the ATM, right? They use the ATM. The ATM is just a dilution on the shares. So that I don't know. What are the chances China dumps 200,000 Bitcoin due to tariffs madness? Remember what they did to tech sector with DeepSeek, Deep Search. I think you're talking about that one. There's always a possibility of that. I don't know what the chances are of that. see. All right, question here. It's difficult to read the chat. So many are confident where BTC is going, but in fact, nobody knows poop about F. Yeah, it is. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody thinks where things are going to go. We'll find out in due course where things are going to go. Some of us are going to be right. Some of us are going to be wrong. We're going to have to live with the decisions that we made at that point. All right, let's see. All right. What we do know is coming out of any cycle, the market rotates to something new. It did that in 2020 and cycled to AI and BTC. The next cycle will focus on less AI and BTC. Get ready. I mean, yeah, it's always something new, right? Something shiny on it. And that's why we also had last cycle in the crypto space, we had the ICOs, we had the NFTs, then we had something else, the runes, or yeah, whatever it was. I mean, there's just a bunch of things that have been happening here in the crypto space alone. Every cycle has been something different. So Mark says, or question, it must be harder to do convertible notes now. Yeah, I would think so. Why everyone stopped despite the BTC buying opportunity. Yeah, it's definitely tougher when things are going downwards, right? Not a lot of people are going to be happy to do convertible notes because they're just fearful themselves that Bitcoin's going to be going down even further. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to... There it is. Okay, question. Does anyone know how to contact Trump's kids? They know where the market is going. Let's see. Did you see what Kathy was retweeted or tweeted? I did not. Or I might have seen it. It's just, I go through a lot of news and some of the stuff I just kind of brush it off. And let's see. In our view, the market today is discounting the last leg of a rolling recession, which will give the Trump administration and the Powell Fed many more degrees of freedom than investors expect. One of two, setting up the economy for a deflationary boom in the second half of the year. Okay. See, Kathy Wood is buying a boatload of stocks right now. They are very low. She looked on Tesla and Coinbase today. Tesla is a tough one, right? So a lot of people are not happy with Elon, right? And that's one of the issues when you become a public figure and you voice your political views. You basically upset the other 50% that don't agree with your views, right? And his companies, I mean, historically appeal to a broad range of both conservative and Republicans, right? But when you alienate one group, yeah, you might have a little suffer there, not only here in the United States, but across the world as well, right? So it's a fine line that you have to tread carefully, I think. And he's not treading that carefully. I think mainly like he said in the past, in other interviews where he says he's got all this FU money basically, and he can just tell the, he's going to say what he's going to say, do what he's going to do, and he doesn't care if the stocks go down or he's going to lose money on it, right? So that's not good for shareholders. You want somebody there that I think, this is just my thinking here, you want somebody that's apolitical, right? Keeps the political to a minimum and tries to appeal to a broad range of consumers there. That's going to be the best thing for the stock. So it would, I think it would have made maybe more sense, but this is again my personal feelings on this. I think it would have made more sense for him to divest himself of the CEO roles in these companies and gone on to do this other thing for 4 years, right? Or whatever it's going to be, a year and a half to 2 years, whatever he's going to be doing it. And then he can come back as something else in the companies at that point if you want to do that. But even then, I think that would alienate some people. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. But if you want to hold up, your stock on things, and you're going to have to appease a lot more people and not make other people mad. That's just my thoughts on it. And you saw that with also Warren Buffett, right? So I think somebody asked him about the economy or the politics or something like that. He's like, I politely declined to comment on that, right? Because he knows. He works with different people that are Democrats and Republicans, and that's how you best make money, I guess. Let's see, Bit says here, thanks for all your time and input. Oh, you're very welcome, especially in times like we all wait for you to send us notifications for the live. You're absolutely very, very welcome there. And thanks for coming in as always. Let's see here. Ryan Buell celebrates 24 months of membership. Question, we are 10,000 away from 69. How to survive? Buy the dip, I guess, and hope that we still have a nice cycle here towards the end of the year. I am still looking to buy a little bit. I'm definitely going to be maybe not buying as much. And the reason is I got to pay taxes coming up here. I got to find out what that is going to be. I'm sure it's not going to be light. So I got to prepare for that. Okay. Let's see, your title said it all. We had a CME gap that was going to fill like they do 98% of the time. We barely hit 30% pullback. The horrible sentiment lets me know everyone was way over leveraged. Yeah, so I'm still thinking like more or less you are, right? I believe the gaps typically get filled. We typically have a correction in Bitcoin, at least, 28, 30, 34, 36%. So we're still within that range. So I'm not too worried yet on it. Okay. Bear with me here. There's a lot of comments. Okay, get filled. Dick says, get filled. I think we go up ski. Everything is a buy. I mean, a lot of things are, way lower in value than they were just a couple of weeks ago. So I agree with you there, right? Most of the time, the fundamentals haven't really changed there for the most part. The only thing that's concerned is the tariffs, and we need to get that all subdued, get that out of the way. All right. Okay. I've come to all you guys' questions here, I think. It looks like comments as well. Really appreciate you guys coming in as always. It's definitely a trying time right now. Not only for myself, I'm sure it's for you guys as well. It's definitely testing my conviction for sure. Some of you have possibly already sold out, and maybe rightfully so. Some are still buying in. We will see in the next 6 to 9 months who was right, who was wrong. But we're not going to point fingers at anybody. We all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. We all do things differently based on our own internal and external influences that we see here. So I just wish you guys all the best. All right, I want you guys all to make as much money as possible so you guys can retire, enjoy your lives, spend it with the families. That's what I wish for you guys as always. But yeah, I'm still positive. We'll see where things go tomorrow. We'll cover whatever happens, and we'll talk about it. But again, thank you so much for coming in here. Love you guys all. Have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.